We all recognize that the death of Christ was a transformative milestone in the history of humanity. This sacrifice opened a path for anyone who repents of their sins and believes in Jesus as their Savior to receive forgiveness and eternal salvation. However, there is a unique figure who was profoundly touched by Jesus' love at the very moment of his death on the cross. I'm not referring to the criminal who received the promise of being with the Lord in paradise on that same day. I'm talking about the Roman centurion who, in service to his empire, participated in the crucifixion of the Son of God. In today's video, I'll narrate the intriguing story of this man's encounter with Christ and the consequences he faced from that decisive moment onward. Get ready to be amazed. But before we dive into this incredible story, I ask you to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. My goal is to help you understand the Bible clearly and simply every day. Agreed? Let's get started. Before we understand the fate of that centurion, it's crucial to provide some context. It's important to note that what happened to this man is not described in the Bible, but in manuscripts from that era, which recount the life and death of Jesus through the perspectives of those who witnessed these events. In the hierarchical structure of the Roman army, the rank of centurion was one of the most prestigious, trustworthy, and responsible. It wasn't a position easily attained. It required more than just courage and military skill. The centurion needed to display rigorous discipline and unwavering loyalty to the empire. As the commander of a centuria, a group of about 100 soldiers, his authority was unquestionable. One who aspired to be a centurion had to prove his worth not only on the battlefield, but also demonstrate an innate aptitude for strategy and leadership. He needed to be an exemplary model for his men, inspiring them to follow his orders without hesitation. Discipline and obedience were paramount for a centurion who expected the same rigor from his soldiers. Additionally, intelligence was a crucial requirement, as a single decision could determine the outcome of a war. Within this context of leadership, the centurion was a part of an extremely rigid military machine that imposed order in the lands dominated by Rome through force. One of the most common and brutal methods of punishing those judged as criminals was crucifixion. It's likely that this particular centurion had overseen the torture and even execution of dozens or hundreds of people throughout his career. In the final episodes of Jesus' earthly ministry, from Judas' betrayal, his arrest, trial, to the condemnation and crucifixion, the Roman army played a crucial role in fulfilling the scriptures that foretold Christ's passion. While Jesus suffered on the cross, the Roman soldiers divided his garments and cast lots to decide who would get his tunic, as prophesied in Psalm 22:18. This psalm is remarkable as God granted King David a series of visions outlining the events of the day when the Messiah, a descendant of his lineage, would be crucified. As Jesus asked the Father to forgive those who condemned him, gave his last breath, and committed his spirit into God's hands, something supernatural happened. The Bible recounts that the sky was taken by a dense darkness. Scientists who studied manuscripts from that era believe this darkness was akin to the same gloom that enveloped Egypt during one of the 10 plagues. It was a darkness so intense that it felt tangible. Simultaneously, the earth quaked violently, splitting large rocks and tearing the temple veil from top to bottom. But perhaps the most remarkable event is described in Matthew 27. The tombs were opened by the tremor, and the bodies of many saints who had fallen asleep were raised and went into the holy city, Jerusalem, and appeared to many. These supernatural events profoundly impacted the centurion, bringing him the certainty that something divine was happening at that moment. Despite having witnessed and participated in countless brutal executions, that officer found himself perplexed and began to question his beliefs and convictions. Nothing he had ever experienced compared to what was happening that afternoon on Mount Golgotha. It was then that the centurion looked intently at Jesus' body on the cross, and uttered the phrase that would change his life forever. Truly, this man was the Son of God. This declaration is recorded in Mark 15:39.